everybody, what is up, what is new, and how are you? Hi guys, it is so incredible to see you, and I have something freaking awesome to show you. Today, we are talking with Cody, number 900, and Akira, number 539, about their and my experience in the red boxes on Beast Games episode 3. I am so excited that they have agreed to do this with me. They are the sweetest people ever. There's a reason that I chose them to do the sack race with, okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. At the end, I have questions for us to answer, by the way, that people have asked on Instagram, so we'll go over those. But also, I love that they both have their jerseys, and I still do not have my jersey. They still haven't sent me mine, so whatever.
You don't even have a hat.
I know, I don't have I didn't get to go to the premiere. So I wanted you guys to introduce yourselves and just say hello. So Akira, would you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Hi, I'm Akira. I'm obviously player 539. I work at an outdoor aerial adventure park, and basically we facilitate fun. And yeah, that's me.
That's great, Akira. Would you like to tell us why you decided to do the Beast Games?
I've competed in other videos, and they called me up about Beast Games, and I really love reality TV. So I've always wanted to do Big Brother, Survivor, The Challenge, those kind of things. I think Beast Games was kind of my segue into that, and I think my connection with Mr.Beast kind of helped me get into the Beast Games. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Cody, would you like to tell us about you a little bit?
My name's Cody. I make snow for a living and work at a ski resort. Number 900, you can't really see, but you can see the top. It's all zeros. I just did the games because I like to do fun things, and also I kind of wanted some money. And luckily, one of those things happened.
You got money?
No, I had fun. I got no money.
Okay. You were getting paid. Who's getting paid? Cool. Awesome. Thank you for doing this, guys. These two lovely people, they were a part of my crew from episode 0 that I got super duper close to, also known as Vegas Crew. How did we get picked? How did we pick each other for the sack race? What happened?
So the way our team was picked is everything was announced, and then he's like, hey, we're going to have a sack race, team up with 3 people. So I was standing next to Akira, and I was like, hey, Akira, let's partner up. He's like, yeah, of course. And then out of nowhere, you come running up, and you're like, hey, guys, can I be on your team?
Is that what happened?
Yeah,
that's literally how it happened.
Oh.
And us all being dumb, we're like, yeah, of course. What could possibly go wrong? Join our team, and that's it.
So basically what happened for me is that our crew that was left, episode 0 Vegas crew, that Piper, Kendra, Casey, me, Cody, and Akira. Piper, Casey, and Kendra were all a team, and I was like, oh, Cody and Akira. I'll just team up with Cody and Akira. It'll be so much fun. Apparently I just trot on over and I'm like, I do remember that actually. Yes. I trot on over and I'm like, can I be on you guys' team? And I felt a little bashful. I was like, I hope they don't kick me out of their team.
I wish we would have.
Stop!
In the nicest way possible. I wish we had some random stranger and you would have just gone away.
I just want to say this really quick so everybody knows. I never fell. Cody face planted. They didn't show it.
I don't know about that.
Cody face planted during the haystack race. So I just want everybody to know that.
Yeah, this is good to know. It's very helpful to the rest of the story.
So Cody absolutely face planted. We obviously did not win or get even close to winning on the sack race. When was it that you guys started realizing that we were going to have to go against each other?
As soon as he announced it and said, hey, you're now enemies.
That's what I actually didn't. Some people said they were realizing it almost like right after. I did not realize until he literally said it.
Yeah, it was when Jamal, Ozzy, and Nelly came out and they had immunity from the challenge.
Oh.
That's when I was like, oh, we're about to go on another challenge. And then, at first I thought we were going to be in teams of 3 while working together. I didn't think it was going to be us, like, actually playing against each other.
That, I remember, that was so awful, though.
Because in my head, it was splitting in half every time. So I assumed that there would be, like, an even number of teams, and we'd be going head-to-head against another team. That's what I originally thought. So when they pulled the only 2 of you are making it out, I was like, no.
When I found that out, I was like, it doesn't even show it. It shows it like after I'd already kind of like cleaned myself up, because there's a shot of me with Casey like bawling. I was crying so hard. I cried at everything though.
You and JC both.
Me and JC team and crying at everything. So like when we picked our teams, one of the things that did strike me as weird before we knew what was going on was that they had us line up and they were writing us down as teammates. Like they were making sure we couldn't switch our teammates anymore. I thought it was really odd that they were doing that. And then as soon as he goes up there and he's like, actually, I made you pair up with your friends for a purpose.
Is he British?
What? Yes.
Is he British now?
Yes, I literally wanted to vomit. Oh, who's in the middle handcuffed? Because we all got handcuffed to each other. If you remember from the episode,
it was me.
You were in the middle, yeah, and we were all handcuffed.
I didn't want you guys to have to be handcuffed. I was like, yeah, just take me wherever you guys go.
They made us stay in those handcuffs until we got to those rooms. We did not take those off.
Oh yeah, because my arm was like weirdly on the fan on the window. Like...
Yes, your arm was on the window, and like me and Akira were next to each other. Oh god.
I can't remember if I put my arm over the seat or something. I can't remember exactly, but it was something weird like that.
We were all so connected,
and we were so upset. Like we bus over to the hangar where they have the boxes and stuff. We get out, we're walking in. I'm trying to like explain just how big everything looked. Did it feel big to you guys? Because when I walked in, it just felt massive. Like it felt like there were boxes forever.
So like the white space, it just made everything look like it was endless.
Yes, it did. It felt endless. Why don't we talk about in the cube? I don't feel like they showed enough of the chaotic and disorienting stuff going on.
It was awful. Again, sitting there with your friends, like, how are we gonna figure this out, guys?
Yeah, no, I think at first we were like, we got to figure out something, like a game that we all feel we could play fairly with each other, because we didn't want to have to like screw each other over or anything. Then we were also like, this is our last couple hours together. We should try to have some fun without going over the time limit, because at the end of the day, this is all the time we're going to get for the rest of the time we're here. To not sit there in complete sorrow was kind of our goal.
We actually figured out very, very quickly that we were going to play some sort of fair game, or at least I thought that was happening, and apparently it wasn't exactly that. So
what do you mean? It felt pretty fair.
I mean, it was fair, but what I didn't know is that they had talked beforehand and decided that I wasn't going to go home. Cody and Akira had sneakily talked behind my back and decided that it was between them and not me. So even if I had pulled the ace of spades, that one of them was going to handcuff themselves and not let me, which literally I might cry. I might cry again talking about it. Please no.
I just like that it didn't come down to that, because it just makes me sound good, and I didn't actually have to prove myself.
I think you would have. I know you would have if it had.
Yeah, I don't generally know what we would have done had it come down to that. It might have got like a little physical if we were like, move, like get away from it, and like, but
I would have let you go for sure. I would let you dive on that grenade in a heartbeat.
No, you wouldn't have. I already know you because of what you said. Why did they give you immunity? That's a great question, guys. Why did you give me immunity? I would love to hear.
Yeah, Kira, what were you thinking?
Well, I mean, it was Cody's idea initially, but I kind of was like, yeah, no. For me, at least, going home and letting you two move on wouldn't have been the worst thing, because I have had my fair share of opportunities and other challenges. The reason I was there wasn't necessarily for the money. It was like, I have been in all these challenges. I want to prove that I'm the best Mr. Beast contestant that's ever been around. So winning the title of Beast Games champion is like, that's a huge thing. In my head, I was like, if I go home this way, it's okay, because at least I know that you two have a chance to go on. And honestly, between the three of us, Corn, I felt like you had the best all-around game. You were socially, everybody loved you. You're an athlete, whether you believe it or not, and you're really smart, whether you believe it or not. So it just made sense in my head.
That is the sweetest thing ever. Thank you so much. Oh my god.
That's really Am I not loved and smart?
Oh, I love you too, Cody, but your head was not in the game. Like,
I agree with this part. Cody, you could have, but like you were too focused on like, I gotta get this money.
Yeah, and I fucking didn't. So you're welcome.
I want Cody to go on and win this thing too. But there were just so many times where I was like, his head's not in the game right now. He's talking about leaving for money, but he's also like, I love you guys. And I'm like, I know he loves us, but this man is ready to leave for a paycheck. No.
But I didn't, because I'm dumb.
I know, because you love us.
Cody, what made you decide to not want me to get out? Why give me immunity? Let's see into the brain of the Cody.
There's nothing in there as a cure. Right. You're the smart one. Let's take it back to Whiskey Pete's, I guess. I'm pretty sure we saw you cry there after our little midnight like wake up call. You were just freaking out and crying. And I think that came back to me, and For everyone who saw the episode and saw your reaction, if you would have lost and broke down like that, I think it would have been nearly impossible to chain you up and just leave you there. That would be like probably one of the hardest things ever. So I feel like, just again, as dumb as it sounds, I feel like me and Akira would be like, yeah, we can handle it, I guess. But
Yeah.
seeing
Says the
you
guy
be
who
that,
bawled.
yeah, Akira, he was bawling his eyes.
No, because you did too.
I barely cried, and I got my shit under control in like 30 minutes.
You did
or
get your
30,
shit under control.
And if I recall, in the episode, there's you crawling on the ground begging me not to go. And then Akira was also like, no, not yet. Like, we still have a couple hours. We can hang out still.
Let me give a little, like, to understanding. So we had 5 hours to decide who was going to eliminate themselves, right? And the other thing that was kind of sad about it is they told us that whoever chains themselves up has to stay there for the remaining time. So if they decide to go chain themselves at like the beginning of the timer, they have to stand there chained to a wall for 5 hours. And we're like, okay, well, we're not going to do that. But here's the other fun thing about it. They also didn't have a timer or anything to show us how long we had. And Jimmy even told us, I am not obligated to tell you guys how much time you have left, so you just have to kind of guess. He did sometimes give us time updates, but not that frequently. So it's sort of like a gamble. Because, I mean, you saw in the episode, there were people who thought they had time and didn't, and ended up getting all eliminated.
Yeah, and we didn't really want to push that. We're like, we'd rather play it like
Safe.
on the safe side
Yeah.
instead of like cutting close. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm terrible at like telling time. I'm like, I don't know if I've been here for 5 minutes or like an hour. It just all kind of blends.
Yeah.
Yep, me too.
I mean, you were the one that stressed the most about that time, Cody. 'Cause,
Definitely.
like, we were waiting for our food. Corn, you asked for something else too.
A chair.
So
They brought me a chair when you guys were gone, sitting in that room alone. Like, here's your chair. I'm like, thanks, man.
I did not know
I was like, I really need
that. Okay, so one thing they didn't show is that if you called and asked for something, which we asked for pizza. We wanted to get drinks. We wanted pepperoni pizza. Akira wanted a prime, which...
Yeah, I asked for a Prime Energy.
Cody, what did you want?
I didn't care about a drink. I was just like, let's just hang out and chill and enjoy each other's company and have pizza because it's been forever.
I wanted a boba. Like, each person was only allowed to ask for one thing at like a time. And they took forever to get things to you. And so we had to kind of like ration. So we did pizza, we did deck of cards, because that was what we were going to use to play our game. And
a chair. Or
chair.
chairs.
And chairs. Yeah, they also, here's a couple things, because we couldn't ask for money, because that was Cody's idea. We couldn't
You could ask for money, but you couldn't take it out with you.
That's right. Anything that you got in the red boxes had to stay in the red boxes, so you couldn't take anything with you.
That's what they think. I definitely took an ace of spades with me.
I am actually really upset that we never thought to like do any of the crazy things they had. The tattoo artists, the horse, the dogs. If I know. Let me just go over this. We get into our boxes, come up with the cards, the pizza, we call. Wanted to also play card games before we did our actual card game, because we wanted to just have a good time before we did anything else. But let me just say, it felt like the air was thin. I felt like I was losing oxygen. I wasn't actually. This is not real. It just felt this way because it was so like blinding around me and like claustrophobic. You could hear people fighting. Like, you guys remember hearing people fight and like yell at each other, right?
Yeah.
You could hear the other people in the other boxes fighting, screaming, crying, yelling, singing. There was an opera singer. That was lovely. What we did while we were waiting in there for our stuff was we talked to the camera a lot, because like we could tell that they were being operated by a person and we were trying to communicate with them.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Chapstick pocket, and we would set the shoe and try to throw the chapstick in the shoe, like cup pong basically, or beer pong, because we had nothing else in the room with us but what we had on us, and it's like chapstick, and just, I guess this is our game to entertain ourselves for like an hour.
I didn't make a single shot. I was really bad at that. You should have picked that as the game to like eliminate.
I think I made 2 shots before you guys made a single one, and then Akira was next. It would have been rough. It's funny if you watch the episode, Jeremy and his cube, they took off their socks and shoes. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Not the dogs.
Like, I'm pretty sure they're cute. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I saw like their feet. I'm like, what is this?
Why are your dogs out? The 2 that cheated in Uno was crazy. Yeah, no, that was crazy. I didn't even know that had happened.
I heard about it. They were saying that one of them, whenever it was like wasn't their turn, they'd get up and they were just like pacing the room randomly. They would like scratch their head and flash whatever the card was that the other person was.
That's
or, like,
so
whatever they
bad.
Had. She was sort of like holding up at 2, I think.
No, she caught them. And honestly, I don't even blame her for saying that. It was clear they were cheating.
And good on
Yeah.
her for taking them out too.
I'm also
That's
mad that not as many of the people who did shitty stuff in that game were shown. A couple of them were, but like there were a couple of people who were not shown that did really shady shit and moved on. That's all I'll say.
I don't know if I know of any of that.
There was
The
one
one-
girl, she went in with Annie and one other girl.
Oh, Blakely. Yeah,
Yes.
Annie and Blakely.
Yes, she like basically forced them to pick between each other and like refused to play any games. And I'm like, that girl's. And she tried to defend herself in the room after, and I was like, you need to shut your mouth.
That's what the brother did, though.
I know. I'm confused because I talked to him after everything, and he said that it was like taken out of context or something. But now, like watching the film, I'm like, no, that looks pretty much exactly like what I remember. And
Especially when you walk out and you say, "Yeah, we planned this."
that's the thing is he didn't tell me they planned it, so I assumed they must have taken it out of context. But after a couple more messages recently, I actually don't think they did take it out of context. I think it's exactly what happened.
Yeah, Connor is out of context for sure, and I will die on this hill
Who's?
defending him. Connor, the very
Oh,
petty.
really?
Yeah. So if you would listen, the dude.
Let's
who, like,
get his
won,
number really quick because we're
Yeah.
talking about
you got that
379.
right. So Connor lost his game, and then he's like walked up and he's like, you know what, I'm not gonna do it, and then just turned away. And the guy in there, he's like, you just wasted our time. And then Connor snaps back quickly. He's like, you've wasted my time. I guess the whole like 5 hours, Connor was like, he didn't know these two people. They came in together, and he was the odd one out. So he was like, what game are we gonna play? How are we gonna decide? What are we gonna do? Like, let's figure this out, guys. We don't want to like all get eliminated. And they just weren't working with him at all. They allegedly were just like being selfish and just like not talking to him and just kind of leaving him in the corner. So in the last 5 minutes, they decided, oh, we're just going to throw bottle caps and whoever makes it last loses or whatever. So he lost. And then he's like, you know what? Why would I do this for you guys after the 5 hours where you guys have not worked with me to try to figure something out? Which I respect.
I guess I get it. Yeah, kind of. That makes sense. It's a shitty situation.
You tried and they weren't working with you, then like screw them. They can go home too.
Oh, the girl who took too long to handcuff herself confused me a lot. She confused me a lot too. I know. I knew her kind of like a little bit through just like chatting with her a little bit. I was confused. That seemed really out of character for her.
I had heard of a cube that all the three of them were playing games. They were actively trying to find someone to go. And they did, but then did the handcuff too late. I just thought it was weird that she was like, I can't do it. Do it for me. And they're like,
but that's literally in the rules. That like they told us in the rules you can't force anybody to be handcuffed. Like you can't take somebody up and do it.
Technically, she was saying do it, so they wouldn't be forcing.
I know, but I'm
It's
sure
gray.
that's really gray. I don't think I would have done that. But also that would have pissed me off.
I don't think it was like a selfish thing. Imagine how hard it is to walk away from $5 million on your own terms.
No, I totally agree. Like
stand up and
that's
do it. Like I get why she was struggling, especially being in that situation a little bit.
but like also like you want your friends to move on.
Yes, but I don't know how close they were. And again,
Oh, that's fair.
it's one of those like the longer you sit with it, the harder it is, I'm sure. If you know you lost and you sit there for like 10 minutes, like, oh, I got to do this, then it's going to get harder and harder and harder because you're going to think more about what's going on. That's kind of why we're just going to do this instantly. Like, you guys were still...
You literally did it, and I literally was like, don't do it yet. And then they got me ass up on camera. I was like, guys, do we have to use this shot?
I basically accept defeat real quick. I was like, it is what it is. I'm out. Literally, my one quote in the episode is, I'm out. You two were still like on your knees where I was just sitting like, no, don't do it yet. Like, we have time.
No,
blah, blah,
Akira
blah.
got up and like chased you.
Yeah, he was like walking toward me, and then he gave the fun little speech that got cut.
I know. Our speech that they made us retake got cut.
I just know Akira was saying like, first my brother in Vegas, and now this. But they cut that, and they just showed you crying.
Why don't we talk about that final game that we played? I've given you the ambiance. There's screaming, there's crying, we're hearing fighting everywhere. We're just trying to play our game and enjoy each other, and we're really sad. We had been playing card games before that just for fun, and it was really unfortunate because Cody kept getting, because we had already decided that it was going to be the Ace of Spades, and Cody kept getting the Ace of Spades when we were playing our card games, and we were like,
what the hell? I'm unfortunate because I suggested the game. And I was like, oh, this is an odd number of cards. There's only 3 of us. Let's pull out 1 card so it's exactly even piles. And then there's like so many little things where I'm like, God, that sucks so bad looking back, but like you never would have known. I gave you the deck of cards. I'm like, shuffle it as many times as you want. And you did like 3 times. And then Akira shuffled next, and he only shuffled it twice. So I was like, you know what? I'll just shuffle it once. We'll just go 3, 2, 1. And then I shuffled the last time, and then I dealt out the cards. Everything just lined up for Cody going home.
we were flipping the cards basically to see who was doing it. Akira, tell me what was in your mind when you were flipping cards.
Well, at first I was like, man, is this gonna? Because it didn't happen the first like couple flips. We were almost out of our hand. We had like three cards left each. It's hard to say because I knew that the moment that it happened was gonna be brutal for whoever it was. If it was me, I think I would have still done what Cody did, got up and done it right away. Your game's over at this point, and having to walk away from it, it gets harder the longer you take. I mean, you even heard me. They even had the clip. It's like we flip a card.
This sucks.
It was bothering me a little bit because you guys kept like flipping your cards so fast, and I felt like I was behind every flip. If that makes sense. Like you guys flipped instantly. I'm like, okay, they're safe. Am I safe? And then it's like eventually it's like, no, I'm not. That's why it just hit me like
Nerves definitely set in at that point. Like, who's gonna do it? Who's gonna flip it?
yeah, you guys were just like so
Literally-
fast, and I was like, oh no.
I felt like I was gonna throw up. I was dissociated entirely. I couldn't hear any of the screaming and yelling anymore. All I could hear was like the flips of the cards. When it finally did happen and I saw Cody's, I just felt like I couldn't even celebrate. I couldn't even feel good about moving on at all. Literally the only thing I could think about was just how awful that was and just how terrible it was and how like devastated I was to be losing like one of my really good friends in the game. We'd been together since Vegas, and I just couldn't believe that that was what was happening. And I'm so thankful that he's got so much integrity to hold his word and just put himself up there right away, because I know like a lot of people weren't doing stuff like that. I just remember being so devastated and just watching him walk right over, cuff himself, and Akira trying to get him to not, and Akira crying, and that made me cry more because I wasn't expecting Akira to cry, and then Cody was crying, so I cried more because I didn't think Cody was gonna cry. And what you didn't see was we stood there for a little bit, but they came up, they made us leave. Like we couldn't just stay there. They brought the camera in really quick, and then they were like, all right, we gotta go.
It's funny that like these weird trauma bonding connections that you make with people, because your reaction over me losing instead of you celebrating that you won is crazy. But it's similar to something that happened in episode 1. You know that someone has to sacrifice themselves and the last 3 rows are gone. So as soon as my light went green, I was like, dope. And I looked bright for you and Akira. I'm like, are they good? Like, instantly, before I even like was like, okay, yay, I made it. I was like, wait, are they okay? It's a weird thing to be like, I don't even care, but like I know I'm good. I don't even care. I just want to make sure they're good too.
That's literally
So
the best way to put it. Like that is exactly how it felt. You always were just like, but is everybody else in my group good? Is my group okay?
Yeah, I could see like you and Piper kind of, and then me and Grace had direct eye line.
Yeah.
So every time something would happen, I'd look at Grace, I'd be like, Horn's good, Piper's good, or like whatever situation. And then when Grace got out, I tried to look at you and be like, no, Grace is gone. She's done.
I had no idea that had happened.
But Akira's over there hiding behind the $5 million. No idea what's going on with him.
Then when we were leaving, we left the boxes. Like there was like a door. Me and Akira left through the door, and I was inconsolable. And do you want to tell them about what happened then?
So we walk out, and then they're like, so what happened in your queue? Who did you leave behind? What'd you guys do? The entire time we're crying. And we're talking about how we've been together since Vegas. Decided to do a game with cards. And we talked about how you're a gambling man. That you need to stop gambling because that was a $5 million gamble that you lost.
Biggest loss of my life.
We were all done. We were hugging it out. And then the camera guy was like, I wasn't recording. Inherently, I then said, you're going to have us do that again. That was a lot. Could you actually go back inside and then like walk out and talk again? Really sorry about that. Sure, we'll go back in. When we went back in, you're like, what are you guys doing back here?
Yeah, I was fine at this point.
Yeah, you were fine. Carl like came and talked to you, right?
So it's funny, a couple things happened. So you guys had to do that little reshoot, re-exit thing. So like leaning out the window, just kind of staring, like what the hell just happened? And then I walked to the other side of the room, and then like Tariq ran up. He's like, hey man, can you actually like lean out the window and look sad again? I kind of am, dude. Like, but I'm like, I get it. You guys got to get your shot, make your show, and then they don't even use it. So I was like, this is dumb. The Carl thing, yeah. As soon as I handcuffed myself, I was like, hey, this is like our game's over. And then I think I picked up the phone again. I was like, hey, can you send Carl to say goodbye? And then he ended up like running over, and he's like, what the hell happened? They said goodbye, signed the Ace of Spades for me.
When we were heading to the buses, me and Corn were walking, and we saw Carl. He stopped us and gave each of us a hug because he knew like how rough that was.
I love Carl. He was so sweet to me always. After we were leaving the red rooms, me and Akira got put back into like a holding room. It was shocking because we found out there were not that many people that had somebody sacrifice yet, meaning that there were like the majority of the people in there didn't have somebody handcuffed themselves yet. We were at like basically 3 hours at this point, right?
Yeah, it was about 3 hours in, so there was still a lot of cubes that were left
Yep.
over.
Including Kendra, Piper, and Casey, who were also part of our episode 0 Vegas crew. They hadn't shown up, and I was panicked because I was like, I can't, like, they cannot all get eliminated. That's going to crush me.
We were literally pacing anytime someone walked in. They came late.
They had less than 10 minutes.
I don't know where you guys were, but I talked to Casey at one point before like any of the game started, and she's like, "Dude, I think I have to go. They're cousins. I can't do that to them. I think I'm gonna just step out and let them move on." And I was like, "I get that, but at the same time, Casey, like you got to do what's best for you. You guys should just play a game and play it fair." But she just took one for the team.
They were gonna play a game too. Kendra and Piper both talked about it. They had a game planned.
And then Casey just gets up and sacrifices herself because she's just awesome and just sweet, and it just breaks my heart.
I would like to point out that my game did work to get you guys on camera. My game with Corn's reaction and your little speech, it worked out. Got us our 40 seconds of fame.
I was like watching, I was like, of course, my camera time came from me explaining what game we're gonna play and how Cody, like just narrating Cody getting out.
We ended up just hanging out in that room, listening to people's stories about what happened in the red boxes, and they are like all brutal. The energy in that room, usually like with eliminations, it's sad, but you're like, oh, well, but I'm getting to move on. It's awesome. Yay. But with these, nobody was excited. Nobody was happy. Everybody was beat down. We finally got on our buses to go back, and it was so depressing.
Can I say something about our exit strategy? We basically, all the losers got put in a room together, and then they were like, hey, we're going to drive you to the city, run in, grab your stuff, and leave, basically. I just went in, got my stuff, and then there's a deck of cards that we had for Werewolf, which Corn always led amazingly. And I literally pulled out the ace of spades and I put it on Akira's fucking bed so he would find it when he got in, and then I just left like that. And
Did you find that?
I did.
I think you showed it to me. I'm trying to remember.
And I either showed it to you or I want to say I also might have got rid of it because I was like, I can't deal with this.
Just know that at the end of this, after Cody was eliminated, after all that kind of stuff, it was just so sad. And I feel like it bonded me and Akira for the remainder of the game.
Another thing that a lot of people don't realize is you don't get to say goodbye to everyone. The last time I saw you in person was you getting dragged out of the room crying. And then same with Akira until we were at the premiere in LA. And then I didn't even get to say bye to like Ivy or Youngblood or JC or Emma or like all the people that I spent along with. Just like one day, like, oh, we're all good, we're all friends. And then it's like, oh, I'm not going to see you for like a year or 3. Like, who knows?
Yep. I will forever be grateful to both of you for whatever reason deciding that I had immunity in that challenge.
Technically, you can't prove that.
I know I can't, but I remember sitting in the room after and Akira telling me that, and I literally started crying again. I was like, what the...
I felt like she would have never known unless you told her way later. And I felt like because of what you did that I owed it to you to at least tell her. I didn't want to keep it as a secret.
I felt so special and cared about.
I just remember, like, as soon as we found out the game, I basically turned to you and was like, hey, whatever it is, like, it's you or me got to go. And you just, like, were like, yep. And that was it. It wasn't like a long conversation. It wasn't this plotting. It was just like, hey, we both understand that this is probably what's going to happen.
Okay, so we have some questions. How'd you guys group up in Vegas? Oh, good question. How did we group up in Vegas?
It was all me.
No, it was it?
It kind of was a little bit. I ran into Akira in the check-in for the hotel. So, like, the very first, like, hour in Vegas, I was like, hey, that guy looks familiar. I'm going to go say hello. So I met him that way. And then we went our separate ways and never talked again, I think, for a while.
Yeah, pretty much until we went into the arena.
Izzy, who unfortunately disappeared after Vegas, I ran into him in our letter because they grouped us in letters, and he was letter C, and we were just sitting next to each other.
Okay.
So, like, I talked to him a little bit, and then went our separate ways because I was all like, I'm not talking to anyone. I'm just going to be, like, friendly, and then just disappear and live my life. And then when we got in the actual arena, I saw Akira and Izzy together, so I was like, what the hell? So I went up to them and like started talking to them again, and that's kind of how we became friends.
Oh.
You and I met randomly.
Yeah, we met in the like convention hall, and then I didn't think I would talk to you again. For me, the reason I got into the group is because there was a guy who was making me kind of uncomfortable. I don't want to like say too much because if he is watching, I don't want him to know. Basically, Grace saved me from the situation. And so then I kind of stayed with her after that scenario. And you guys were already sort of a group, and you guys welcomed me with open arms, which is just very sweet.
So even though none of you guys want to admit it, I'm the connective tissue that knew
you
like
kind of
everyone
are.
already.
Yes.
Casey was the first person I met.
Oh.
There was a table that was empty. I sat all the way in the back in the corner by myself, and Casey was the first person that came up and sat down at the table with me. And she's like, "Hey, you look like a nice guy." And she's like, "What's your name?" "My name's Kira." And we were just chatting. Edward showed up and he sat next to me and he was just
Oh,
like, "Hey, is it cool if I sit next to you guys?" We were like, "Yeah." And then Izzy just showed up and Izzy recognized me from
okay.
something. He's like, "I can't put my name on it, but I feel like I know you from somewhere."
Okay, interesting.
That's where the three of us met. And so then when we were in the arena, at first I was with Edward and Izzy and Casey too. And then obviously we kind of all found each other because of Cody.
That's actually
Eh,
so
vaguely.
interesting. No, that's really cool. Okay, now I kind of know. I never knew that. That's really
I don't
cool.
know where Kendra and Piper came from though, because
Grace
when I okay, I
is
joined
Grace.
like a Heroes group of people with like Casey and all them,
Yeah,
and then Grace and everyone ran into us again, so then we kind of partnered up there.
cool.
And then I saved everyone in Vegas with the jerseys because that's what I do.
No,
Uh,
I fought tooth and nail for my jersey actually.
I did get my own. I
Yeah,
did get my
okay,
own.
right,
so I
Cody.
saved Grace and Piper and all the other girls.
Right.
And Izzy got an extra jersey for me and Casey, I believe.
Oh.
I don't know if he had to get one for Casey. He might have. She might have got her own though.
So
But
that's crazy. Okay, so also just for context, everybody, we were all on the green team in Vegas
I,
or in episode 0. So that's
that's
really,
all.
I guess that's really a big reason why we ended up together. So we had been together since Vegas and we stayed friends all through the games in Vegas. When we were done with Vegas, we were going to come back home and then fly out again for Toronto. And the hotel situation was a little interesting.
In Toronto.
You don't know Whiskey Pete's. You don't know. We bonded over that experience and we got really close. And so we kept in touch after Vegas and all through up until Toronto. And then in Toronto, we were going to try and all make it to the city together. And unfortunately, Izzy, Edward, and Grace did not make it to the city. This one is for me, and I will pass it to you guys as well. Did you ever consider eliminating yourself during the box challenge? So for me, I did consider eliminating myself for a little bit because I really did want you guys to go on, and I felt like this was a stupid game. But I also was like, no, but I really do want to keep competing, so I think we should just do a fair game. And that was kind of my thought process. What about you guys?
I never had the thought of like I should eliminate myself, but I have the thought of like we should have made a deal like if one of us wins, like bro, you get this percentage or you get this. Since we're all in this together, like if whoever loses, like we'll still take care of you. Basically, we'll have to see. Have to wait and see if anyone won. Pretty sure I didn't. I don't know about you two.
I don't know. We'll have to see, right, Akira?
you have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Easy answer though. I never thought of just like walking away for the two of you. Unfortunately,
There was a point where I was like, this is probably it for me because I already had my second chance from the towers. Like I came back to life again. I've also had plenty of opportunities. Even though I wasn't playing for the money, it in the back of my head, like I'm a competitor and I'm like, yeah, I want to go as far as I can. I also was like fully cool with leaving it up to fate. So when Cody suggested the deck of cards and stuff, I was like, that seems completely fair to me. Doesn't screw anyone over. I thought it was the best way to do it. I didn't want to do anything like skill based or do you guys dirty. I was fully ready to leave if it came down to it.
Here's the next question. Why all the crying? I guess that's a good question for me to start answering.
yeah, that's you first.
The best way I can say this is that all of the challenges that you ever see in the games take place over like days of filming, weeks of filming, and there's so much downtime. But we have no internet connection, we have no phones, we are isolated from the outside world with really no entertainment. We really only had each other to bond with, you know what I mean? And you get really close with people when you spend almost the entire day just talking to each other and learning about each other's lives. When somebody would get eliminated, it's like you don't know when you're ever going to see them again because people have jobs, people have lives outside of the Beast games, obviously. This kind of scenario will never be the same again. This kind of bond that we're able to have here is basically dead. We can't have that same sort of relationship anymore or friendship anymore. You're like mourning that almost. That's how it felt for me at least. What about you guys? Why all the crying from you guys?
Well, since Akira cries in every video he's ever been in, let's hear from him next.
I mean, in all of the previous videos I've been in, it's always been you're doing this crazy thing with these people you've never met, and sometimes you just click with people. There is a lot of downtime. You talk about your lives, and you just grow those connections that are really, really hard to find elsewhere. I mean, ultimately, you start to like each other so much that you want to see that person win. As much as you're competing against them, you also want to see them succeed and win. When their time's up, you just watched your friend lose their dream just ended. That's where the tears come from. You can't help it. As soon as I walk out those doors, it is very real. Like, I'm not gonna see him for like months, years. And honestly, in all of my videos I've done in the past, I've never met up with anybody except for in another challenge. So like a lot of people I met in the circle, I got really close to a lot of them. I didn't see them again until I went to the Lambo video. And then post Lambo video, I didn't see any of them until Beast Games. So like that is like years of gaps where I got close to these people, but I never saw them again. That's why I think with this, I want to keep those connections. I'm older now, so I feel like I appreciate them more than I did when I was younger. Because then when I was younger, I was like, oh, I got time. We can make a reunion, whatever. Yeah, I live right now, you know?
You got to make it happen. You can't just wait for it to happen, basically.
So, Cody, why cry? Why cry, Cody?
Because I lost $5 million potentially.
Right.
No other reason. Don't know why.
Okay.
That's real.
My odds of getting $5 million was 1 in 250, and that's a rare thing for people.
Yeah, it is.
Losing that. Maybe not saying bye to my friends had something to do with it. I don't know. We should have ended on Akira's. His was better.
I will say that Cody pretends not to be, but he is a sweetheart, okay? He really is. So, what game did y'all play to see who gets handcuffed? Akira, would you like to explain the game?
You want to look at the camera and tell them what we're doing?
You want to look
not
at the
again.
camera so emphatically
God.
and speak so clearly and slowly for the camera?
You want me to do it again?
I
Why don't you
absolutely do. I absolutely do.
We decided to take a deck of cards. We were going to shuffle it up equally, and then we would flip each card over till one of us drew the ace of spades. Whoever drew the ace of spades would handcuff themselves to the wall.
And Cody drew the ace of frickin' spades.
Which I realized we did this game wrong because like the ace of spades is a good card. You like
Right.
want ace. What we should have done is whoever had that moves on, and then round 2, blah 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 blah.
How long did y'all stay in the box? How long did it take us to do the decision? Which easy answer is it took us about 3 hours.
He handcuffed himself, and like a few moments later, they announced we were halfway through. And we were like, we had so much more time.
2.5 hours. Because Cody was so panicked that we were going to run out of time because they didn't tell us enough. They didn't give us a lot of updates. So 2.5 hours is how long it took us. What was going through your head when Mr. Beast made you and your partners go into the box?
My thing, I walked up to Jimmy. I was like, hey, this was genius, but I hate you.
All right, Akira, what was going through your head when we were walking to the boxes?
Yeah, I found on the same page as Cody. They flipped the script on us and they're like, you're against each other. I can't believe they did this to us. Like, cinematically, this is a really good twist. But I can't believe we're in it. Because we'd seen, like, the little promo thing of the cubes, and we theorized what those were. And my theory was that it was an isolation cube, sort of like a last to leave almost. No way did I think it was going to be us put in a room and you leave someone behind. Kind of just walking into the set, it was like, obviously it sucked. But I was also kind of like, this is going to look sick on TV.
Like, even with the flag game, my first thought there was like, dude, this is my favorite game you've ever done, but I hate that I'm part of it.
I think that about every single game except for one, but I can't talk about it yet. And what was going through my head was, so first of all, we didn't know exactly what the game was going to be showing up to the boxes. We walk in and we see these giant red boxes during individual towers in episode 1. They had given us a preview of things to come in the Beast games, and we saw the red boxes and we were all talking about, oh, I wonder what the red boxes are going to be. And we'd even seen like on the billboards in Beast City kind of hinting at the red boxes and the phones and all that kind of stuff, because they would do like fake advertisements on those billboards to hint at the next games. Red Box Phone Company, ask for anything. That was like what it said. And so we were all like, oh, I wonder what that is. And so we show up, we see it, and we're like, oh, this is it. I don't even know what I thought it was going to be. But then when
Some kind of game set up for us to play.
Yeah. But like I very quickly realized, oh, okay, we're just going to have to decide amongst ourselves who's going.
A question in our application when we first applied was like, why do you think you deserve to win over like everyone else? And my response was, I don't think I do. We all have our reasons to win.
Yeah, that was mine
So
too.
when people came out with like you're just a kid, like go home. Like what are you
I hate that.
I'm like, shut up, dude.
No, I actually really agree with you. There were some people that were coming out being like, yeah, well, I have this, and this reason to be here. I'm so sorry. I just don't feel like that's like a good way to do it at all. Everybody has a reason to be there. Everybody's reason is really valid. And also, it's not like you can even explain all the context that would be important for explaining why you really do deserve to win or not. Well, I know that guy, he said everyone's reason was good, in quotations, also that guy in episode 1, I'm a buy jet skis and gold chains. Hey, I understand, right? I know that he said that, but we also don't know that he's just kind of doing that for screen time. Like, you know what I mean? He might have just been saying that to put on a show. Like, you really don't, it's like, I know a lot of people who didn't really want to talk about their reasons for why they wanted the money. I get it. So I try not to assume. The last question we have on Instagram is, how stressful was the whole event?
All of Beast games?
Just the event.
The cubes.
The cubes.
For me, it was stressful, but I was also like, man, this is not how I wanted. Like, if I wanted to go out, this was not the way I wanted to do it necessarily. Not to like, oh, I lost to my friends. I think it was like, I'd rather lose having fought for my place in the games. Kind of like the towers. In the towers, when mine fell, I was like, I didn't do a good enough job, but I did my best, and I'm going home, so be it. Versus like, just in this scenario, this is how I go home. But also, like, I was trying to tell myself in the back of my head, even if I am the one that goes home, at least you two are still in.
I thought it was incredibly stressful, me personally. I was sitting there shaking. Guys,
I'd say you were like the most quiet and just like stressed the entire time.
I was barking. Do you not remember me barking?
I remember.
I was losing my mind and I started barking.
Corn was doing her bark, like her little yap, and then I started like barking.
Wait,
like,
did you? That's right. You did start barking. We both barked.
What barking did Corn do?
Yeah, she was doing that, and then I was doing like you know how when Izzy would just get riled up and he'd just bark in the crowd? I started doing that, and I was like, okay, maybe I should stop because there's no reason for me to do this.
How did y'all feel like watching the episode?
I honestly watched it like 10 times because I just love seeing you break down because I'm like, that's so funny but so sad.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Just the fact that like they cut out me and Akira and we look fine. You're literally on the ground like, Cody, no. I'm like, I lost $5 million, but at least I got this. And it's just a picture of you like bawling.
I think it would have been worse for me. I think maybe it was because I didn't see myself crying that I didn't tear up more. I thought I would. I think I cried so much in the moment. And I was like literally torn up. It went on for a couple of days where I was pretty torn up that you were gone. Like seeing it back, I was like, I can't believe that happened. And it all happened so quick. So I don't think I fully processed everything again.
I was back home like to normal like life, like back at my house within 24 hours of you guys leaving that box, I think.
Are you serious?
They booked my flight for the next morning at 11 a.m.
Damn. You were out of there fast.
In the games, and a day later I was back home. I'm like, what the hell just happened?
I will give you my experience watching the game. Thanks for asking, guys. Or watching the episode. Thanks for asking.
How was your experience watching the cube, Corn?
I was so happy that we got screen time. I was like, dang, a lot of people did not get their stuff in there, and ours was in there. Honestly, I felt like oddly numb watching it because I feel like I cried so much, and I like same as Akira, like I cried so much for it during it, and it was so quick in the show that it just didn't really get me in the same way. I have to disassociate from watching it. It gets me too hyped up and my like heart starts going really fast. It felt weirdly numb, but I was just mostly excited that we got screen time in there and that Cody lives on by me saying, Cody, no, with my like dead ass voice. The ending of that episode, now Cody's dead. Sorry, Cody, you're dead now. Bye. We go to sleep. We are all depressed. I literally just walk to my room or to my dorm bed and I just go to sleep. Like we all do. We all are so emotionally drained. We all just walk to our beds and just fall asleep.
Real quick, Akira, did you sleep in my bed?
I did not sleep in your bed. I slept in mine. But you can actually, if you watch the video back, or the episode back, there's a clip and it shows the men's dorm and you can see me wearing my
yes,
my eye
I saw that. It was so funny.
I remembered. I was like, dang. I remember that night. I slept horribly. I was crying. That's why I put the mask on.
We went to bed. We woke up the next day. Then what happened was we could like kind of see something out of the corner of our like just like barely in the like the main gate area, like a gold thing, and we were like, what the is that? What is that? And so we all eat our breakfast. They tell us to wrangle ourselves up and make sure we're ready and go over to the gold present, basically. He starts explaining, and then what happens, Akira?
Well, he starts to say what the rules of the present are. He starts with, the first person to touch this gold present, and then obviously Kareem was the one that ran over.
Puts his hand on it, and I
406.
literally am just looking at him like I felt like I was on my toes and ready, and he started saying it, and there was somebody in front of me, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta try to get around them. And then the camera was also right there too, which is why you see me in that. I see Kareem run up and touch it, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't have ran up because I wanted to wait to hear what Jimmy had to say.
I don't know why I like was ready for it, but I was, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. He was quicker than me. I remember watching that whole thing happen and just seeing them leave on the helicopter and being like, this is insane.
I was also shocked because I was like, I didn't think the island was going to come into play so soon. I was like, I feel like that was going to be down the road. Once they explained that there are 60 spots on 10 helicopters, and in order to get to the island, you need to get on one of those helicopters. So basically, we were cutting down from 140-ish, whatever, to now 60. So our odds got even worse.
They were expecting originally for somebody to take the bribe on top of the towers. They were expecting that like one of those team leaders was going to take the bribe, and that we were actually going to be down to like more. Like I don't think they were expecting us to be at that many people left.
No, I think it would have been 2 people per cube.
Yeah, that was the original plan. Yep, which is crazy. 2 people per cube would have been brutal. We kind of broke the game, unfortunately, and so that meant that our odds for getting to the island, because we had to get down to 60 people. That's like, there were only 60 seats on the helicopter. Our odds just got way worse, and we can't say anything else. Just know that next is fighting for spots on the helicopter. So now we move on to episode 4 next week, where we will see who gets a ride on the helicopter to Beast Island, and I am super duper excited about that.
I'm excited. I think a lot of people are going to see a lot more action in this next coming episode.
I'm really excited for episode 4. I think episode 4 is probably going to be my favorite.
If people didn't like all the sacrifice from the first 3 episodes, you're going to love episode 4 for the simple fact that you get to see some real action.
I agree. I might try and do something similar to this next week if you're able to, Akira. Maybe a couple other people that I can pull. We'll see. We'll see who I can get. Please go follow them if you guys don't follow them. Go follow Cody on Instagram at CodyHolden25. And go follow Akira at Akira_Andrews. Thank you both for being here. I adore both of you. I hate that we had to be in the red boxes together. I'm thankful that I have both of you in my life and that I met both of you. And I just think the world of both of you. I think you guys are amazing people. Love you. Bye, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been so much fun. Thank you to both Cody and Akira for coming on here and talking about your experience with me. This has been something to relive. I'm thankful that I haven't cried as much as I thought I was going to, but luckily I think I've removed myself from it as much as I need to. I hope you guys will tune in next week for updates on episode 4. I have new videos coming out very soon on everything Beast Games related, as well as my other content, which is my main content, which is playing games and doing random fun things with you guys. So I hope you guys will stick around for that. If you have any more questions, please leave them on one of my videos. Like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, join the Discord, come hang out on stream with me sometime. I stream usually on Saturdays and Tuesdays, and right now Thursdays, because that's when these episodes are coming out. I will talk to you guys so soon. Bye!